from the Russia-Ukraine war to the tensions in the Indo-Pacific. The US-based manufacturer General Atomics MQ-9 drones has emerged as one of the most valuable aerial assets for the United States and its allies. And what is interesting is that recently the Indian government has approved the acquisition of 31 MQ-9B Predator drones from General Atomics. And Voice of America's Jessica Stone, in fact, spoke with General Atomics CEO Vivek Lal on the India-US Defense and Technology Cooperation MQ-9 drones as to why drone technology in the Indo-Pacific is going to be really important. Listening to what he had to say.
So, yeah, the MQ-9B is the world's best high-altitude, long-endurance asset. I think it's proven around the world over the many years in terms of the predecessors and how we got to this point. The capabilities, whether in terms of maritime surveillance and or other operational roles, has proven themselves out over the years. And I think that resilient platform and the ability of that platform to be used by several air forces and navies around the world is testament to the 7 million plus hours that has been flown. And so I think the continuous technology improvement is part of the asset evolution, and we continue to see that. Yeah, so we have a very robust portfolio, and I think we, are always looking forward to supporting India in any capacity we can. We have 2 leased assets over there that have flown over 12,000 hours. And so as the relationship continues to grow, we stand by to support both the U.S. and Indian government in their discussions. I think at large, both nations being the oldest and the largest democracies, they have seen great convergence. Of course, very proud of the fact that there is a very strong people-to-people ties between India and the U.S., and I think that'll continue to grow.
All right, so that was the CEO of General Atomics, Vivek Lal, speaking to Voice of America's correspondent Jessica Stone, who's now joining us live from Washington, D.C. Jessica, we just heard from Vivek Lal as to why this particular deal is so very important. Now, tell us a bit about how Washington is, of course, looking at this deal, because, there's a history in terms of India and the United States defense deals. And earlier, what was evident was that the United States was a little hesitant to share its defense technologies, but now it appears to be more willing to share its defense technologies with India.
Absolutely. In fact, in the words of U.S. Ambassador to India, Eric Garcetti, if there was a Facebook status for this relationship, it has gone from "it's complicated" to "we're dating." And like any good dating relationship, I think you're seeing the U.S. really take India out to dinner, take India out for a spin with some of these lucrative deals, and really put its best foot forward to impress upon India that it wants to make a go of this relationship in a way that it hasn't in the past. And under this Biden administration, we've certainly seen much warmer rhetoric, much warmer ties. In the last few weeks, of course, we've had a flurry of visits. In fact, the DCM of the embassy here last night told us that she's had, something like 20 visits to organize within the last 10 months of her duties here. So it has really been a quick escalating relationship. And of course, we've talked a lot about what's bringing these two countries together from the U.S. vantage point is that the U.S. is seeking a counter to China in the Indo-Pacific. But with respect to this drone deal, this is going to take congressional approval. So we do not anticipate seeing a signature signing ceremony this week in Washington. We might see an announcement of an MOU or of a signing of a memorandum of understanding, but there are still a lot of details to work out in both capitals to make this deal official. Though that said, if it becomes official, and certainly there is great intent on the U.S. side for it to become so, it would be the first time that these drones are sold to a country outside of NATO. So a huge endeavor. Obviously, India will have them for the Navy, for the Army, and for the Air Force, and it will be also a huge advantage in maritime security, which is something of interest to both countries.
Absolutely, indeed. And the last time the Indian Prime Minister was in Washington D.C., it said that we are putting behind the hesitation of history behind us. And many analysts are saying that the India-US equation is going to be the the relationship of the 21st century, that define the 21st century. How is Washington looking as to how the India-US equation is changing?
Well, those very words were actually said by Kurt Campbell, who is in charge of Indo-Pacific affairs for this White House. And so you have a very, very strong sentiment here at this White House that India is the partner of choice in the Indo-Pacific when it comes to having the ability to have a large security relationship, and of course also a large ability to exchange technology and manufacturing know-how, so that India can over time be the design function, the manufacturing function for the major technologies of the future, whether that's computing, quantum computing, artificial intelligence. We expect to see a lot of deals announced this week in green technology. That's a source of interest for both countries. So I do think it's a real turn in the relationship. In fact, just in the past couple of hours, we heard the U.S. Secretary of the Air Force call it a real turning point in the relationship, describing it as sort of that part of the hockey stick that goes straight up. He said, we used to be in the curve of that hockey stick. Right. Now we're in the end of that handle, and it's just a straight up relationship from here. So that's the intent under this White House for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you very much indeed, Jessica Stone, for joining us and getting us all those details there.